But how long were you guys on Collateral360 for?
3 years.
3 years. Okay, cool. And kind of what was the main reason you guys ended up deciding to make a change?
Well, I think it just, it started out pretty good.
Hmm.
As time went along, I don't know if it was really attributed to maybe their updates and enhancements to their platform. Really kind of took us back a little bit. Some of the functionality was different. It wasn't quite as user friendly. Um, and customer service was really a big issue.
Yeah.
You could bring up some problems that you have or issues you've come across, and the stock answer was always, well, we'll look into it, or sometimes flat out, we just can't do that. We can't change those things. So that's kind of the nice thing about YouConnect is it's highly customizable. And, there's times I've talked to Barbara and she's making changes in real time as I'm talking to her, saying, hey, I have a couple things. She's, hang on a second, and okay, they're done. Where I don't know if you can really get that anywhere.
Yeah, how did that work on the Cloud360 side? Would you have to put like a request in if you wanted to have a field change or a report added or something like that?
Yeah, you would either put in a ticket, or I would call the rep and talk to him, and he would see if there was anything he could do. But ultimately, it was let me check with development and we'll get back to you. So so yeah, customer service was a lot of it, and really I understand that it's mostly on me as far as how the system operates, and I use it every day. But the lenders too, you want to make it where it's easier for them as well. And I think they had some issues with that system. They weren't again, after a while they weren't taking it. They weren't using it a lot as they should. But again, they didn't like it too much.
Sure. How have the lenders taken to changing over to YouConnect so far?
I've talked to a couple so far. Again, we just went live June 21st. I've had some conversations, and they were all positive.
Great. And the vendors?
Yeah, the vendors too. I've had a couple say that they really like it. There was one that had never used it before, and said, wow, I really like the way all the communication comes with a link to it. So I just click that link and do whatever I have to do. So they thought it was a pretty easy system from their vantage point.
Yeah, the biggest thing we hear on that side is like no password and usernames for them to keep up with. That's probably part of it, I would imagine.
Yeah. And the nice thing too is that once that link is used, they can't do anything more. So I have had occasions in Collateral360 where, say, a vendor uploaded a report, maybe it was the wrong one or something like that, and I would get notified that the report was uploaded, and then I'd get another notification a few minutes later saying another report was uploaded for the same property, where they really have their access. They have access to that system as long as it's open. Where they couldn't do that with Collateral, or they can't do that with YouConnect. If they upload the wrong report, they would have to let me know, and I'd have to send them another link to do it. So they really kind of have limited access.
Right. How does the actual system compare? Has it made anything in your day-to-day a little bit easier in terms of the system functionality at all?
Yeah, definitely. I think the navigation is much easier. You have the jump functions, but I find myself just kind of scrolling through because really, essentially, it's all on one page, right? You don't have to leave to go anywhere. Whereas Collateral360, you would have whatever page you were on, but you would kind of have to not get out of the system, but you'd have to click another link to get wherever you needed to go, and back and forth. It was really kind of cumbersome with navigating Collateral360, whereas here it's very nice. It's very easy. I certainly like the fact that it automatically advances the workflow.
Yeah.
Again, in contrast to C360, you would have to do that manually. And where we have the two-step process kind of all in one, so it advances everything all together, you'd have to do your appraisal report, advance that, your appraisal review, advance that. And again, everything's done manually, where here you just don't even worry about it, because whatever you're doing, whatever you're working on, whenever, again, you accept for review, it just kind of automatically does that for you. So it's nice. And again, and I will point out the nice thing too is I like the highlights and the colors.
Oh, I gotcha.
On your dashboard. So, if you send a bid request to the loan officer, it's yellow, and then whenever they reply to that, it's green. So whenever you're on your screen, it's you're seeing where you are in that stage, and having those colors kind of just remind you that, hey, you have something to do. You have a task waiting.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. That's a great viewpoint. And you, during your due diligence, you called a few of our chief appraiser clients at other banks, right? How did that go, and how did your conversation go with them?
Yeah, that worked out well. Especially, you had mentioned Jim Murray earlier at S&T, and that was really nice. To take the time out, talk to me about their process, what they needed for their bank. It was nice to get that feedback, and also created a professional relationship as well.
Right. Awesome. And how was the onboarding experience? I know you guys got through that really, really quickly, actually. You were up and running in about a month, just over a month, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't tell you the day we actually started going through this, but it was definitely. It was a much easier process than our other platform. It was nice to, of course, we had no choice but to use Teams, or doing it like we are now. But yeah, it was nice. I like the format that you have for going through and what your agenda is, and you can kind of see where you are in the process. And yeah, it was good, and actually the onboarding with all the lenders, I think, again, coming from another system, of course they're used to using something. So although the navigation and some things were a little bit different, so they didn't really have too many questions or concerns going in. So I think that made them.
Perfect. And last question for you. So we're often, a lot of the time, a bank is either considering going with YouConnect or Collateral360 nowadays. And a lot of these banks are currently on RIMS. What would you say to another chief appraiser and appraisal manager at a bank who's considering both options to move to one of these platforms in the future?
Yeah, due diligence is really everything. Doing your research, talking to other users. Fortunately, I had the opportunity to talk to other people who have used either RIMS or C360, and then went to YouConnect, or coming from nothing and then using YouConnect. So yeah, I would just say due diligence. It's all going to be based on need. I think. The cost end of it is going to be pretty similar, I think, with most product. But yeah, I think really talking to other users was a big help. Yeah, no, it's been nice, and I told Barbara yesterday. I had talked to her. That was one of the. It happened probably 2 or 3 times where she would call me back and I'd say, hey, I just had a couple of things here, and she's, doing her thing in the background going, oh no, okay, it's all done, where that's really unheard of. You just, that kind of service is again, you don't see that anywhere. But
Yeah.
I told her, it's funny, we went live June 21st, and all of a sudden we're just so busy here. So I said, it figures we're using a new system, and we're busier than we've ever been at this time, right? And it's like, but no problems. And like I said, frankly, from my side, it's been pretty easy. So